By purification of offerings is meant, at least in 3 cases, the degree to which the gift, or let's say in all the cases, is the degree to which the gift will become worthy of merit. So we're still thinking in terms in that framework of what will create merit. So the text says that there are 4 kinds of purification of offerings. So what are the 4? The offering that's purified by the giver, not by the receiver. Yeah, the commentary actually gives the explanation of purified as meaning made fruitful. Fruitful in the sense of being able to create that merit that will bring desirable fruits. So the offering that's purified by the giver, not by the receiver. The offering purified by the receiver, not by the giver. The offering that's purified neither by giver nor receiver. And the offering purified both by the giver and the receiver. Okay, the first is the case where the giver, this is the offering that's purified by the giver, not by the receiver. In this case, the giver is virtuous, but the receiver is non-virtuous or of evil character. Then the offering that's purified by the receiver, not by the giver. So here the giver is immoral, whereas the receiver is virtuous and of good character. The offering purified by neither, this is the case where both are immoral, of bad character. And the offering that's purified both by giver and receiver, that is where both the giver and the receiver are virtuous and of good character. So there's 2 factors here. We think that the gift should be purified, sort of it would seem intuitively, entirely on the basis of the intention or volition of the giver. But here there's something is being introduced which goes beyond what I would call a purely psychological or empirical understanding of the meritorious capacity of giving. And that is that the receiver, the moral quality of the receiver, influences the moral quality of the recipient influences the meritorious potential of the act of giving. So, let us assume that I'm virtuous and of good character. We'll just temporarily accept that assumption. Okay, now we have here sitting to my left an Arahant, and sitting over here on the central seat a monk who's an ordinary person. Okay, I have, say, 2 robes, same kind of robe. I don't know anything about the spiritual qualities of the 2 monks, but I just see them sitting there. I want to offer them robes. So I take, and the robes are the same, basically the same cut, same type. I take one with deep respect. I offer to the Arahat, saying, "Please, Venerable Sir, accept this robe." I take the other robe, I offer it to the immoral person, saying, "Please, Venerable Sir, out of compassion, accept this robe." Okay, it would seem that my intention or volition in these 2 cases is the same. My understanding is the same. But because this one is an Arhat, this one's is an immoral person, the gift that's given to the Arhat will generate more merit than the gift given to the ordinary person. And now you could play on this in an interesting way. Not all Arhats necessarily have very delicate, refined behavior. Sometimes they could be a little bit coarse in their manner of speaking, their way of acting, just as if, because of previous habits. And then we have another monk who's immoral. Let's see, this is the one, immoral of bad character, but he knows how to put on the display. So he's, whenever he sees people looking at him, he walks, slowly and mindfully, maintains downcast eyes. He looks very restrained, speaks with a very soft, gentle voice. So people start talking, he must be stream enterer. Maybe he's anagami, maybe arhat. Okay, so I see this monk who's the real arhat, but his outward manner is a bit coarse. So I just make the gift to him very casually. And this one, I think, is the arhat. I give with deep veneration, admiration, respect. I give to him in the belief that he's an arhat, and making offerings of robes to arhats is a meritorious deed. Whereas in the case of this monk, I think, okay, he needs robes, I just give him a robe. Okay, but as from the standpoint of the recipient, this monk will purify the gift much more powerfully, the one who's the arhat, than the one who's the immoral monk of bad character. That's because, of course, my mental attitude is also entering into play. So because it's casual in the case of the arhat, whereas reverential in the case of the ordinary monk, so that is sort of diminishing the merit in regard to the arhat, and bringing, at least increasing the merit in regard to the immoral person. Okay, but in the case where the attitude is the same, even though I perceive this monk is the arhat, this monk is an ordinary person, this monk is an arhat, though it's the opposite, my attitude is the same, both respect for both of them, then the arhat will, as the recipient, will purify or intensify the meritorious power of the gift over the gift given to the ordinary person. But of course, as the Buddha says here, the most powerful gift is that given by a virtuous person to a virtuous one. Okay, so those are the four purifications of offerings. And then the same point is repeated in the first four verses repeat the same point. But then we have the fifth verse takes another case which is not covered by the four, or at least it's not explicitly covered by the fourfold purification of offerings. This is what Michael brought up during the previous period. When a passionless person to a passionless person, and I looked up the text of the Majjhima Nikaya, and the expression is vitaraga, which is a kind of epithet for an arahat, one who is freed, completely freed from lust or passion, through eradicating it at the root. When a passionless person to a passionless person gives with trusting heart a gift righteously obtained, placing faith that the fruit of action is great, that gift, I say, is the best of worldly gifts. Okay, then the commentary explains this. It says that the verse refers to the gift that one arahant gives to another, and then it explains that even though the arhat believes in the fruit of karma, that's what's meant by the line, placing faith that the fruit of action is great. Because he is without desire or craving for continued existence, his own act of giving doesn't produce any fruits. It doesn't generate merit to produce fruits in the future. So it is a mere, in Abhidhamma terms, it's kirya, that is a mere activity that doesn't leave any traces behind of karmic accumulations. Okay, so that takes care of the sutta, the text of the sutta. Yeah, Edwin. I think maybe it's good if you take the microphone. There might be the mute. You either turn it on or else turn the mute off. Okay, just speak loudly. Yeah. 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 Who said that he doesn't create any merit? No, that is not said. No, it doesn't say that he doesn't create any merit or accumulate any merit. If you look at the text, it says that. Let me just get. Okay. Yeah. So purifying the gift would mean to increase or to intensify the merit, the potency of the gift, to create merit. But it doesn't mean that when an immoral person gives a gift, whether to a virtuous person or a moral person, when he's giving the gift, then he has the volition, the intention of giving. And so that's a wholesome state of consciousness with a wholesome intention. Oh, definitely that's creating a merit. Definitely that's creating merit. It's not a matter of creating or not creating merit. It's a matter of the potency of the gift. Oh yeah, sorry. Some idea of.
If you can kindly give us how these offerings or whatever it works, how it works. If you understand how it works, then perhaps you can see how giving to an ordinary person or giving to a noble recipient, how do they kind of bring about benefits?
Let me see if I get the intention of the question. Okay, so I give a gift to a person, whether it's immoral person, doesn't matter. Okay, by giving, then I'm creating wholesome karma. This is a wholesome karma of giving. So this is what we call merit. Merit is just another term for wholesome karma. In fact, merit was the older term, I think, that came in from Brahmanism. And then the Buddha sort of explains merit in terms of wholesome karma. And the Buddha specifies volition as the decisive factor in creating wholesome karma. Okay, so it's this wholesome volition then creates the wholesome karma, which gets in some way stored up or planted within the mind stream of that person. And then that wholesome karma has the capacity to produce fortunate, we would call desirable or fortunate results that come back to the donor in some way. So exactly how the details work, yeah, of course that I can't say. But when there's suitable conditions, a suitable set of circumstances, it brings that karma, sort of activates that meritorious karma, so that it will then produce some kind of benefits that come to the aid of the donor. So let us say I give gifts, that creates the wholesome karma. So as a result, maybe that's probably not in this life, but in some future life, when I apply for a job, I don't have trouble getting the job. I get readily accepted, and I get fringe benefits and secure position. That's coming through the maturation, or could be coming from the maturation of that karma, interacting with other factors. The karma doesn't operate in a vacuum, but it's always intricately interwoven with a whole network of conditions. Is that getting at the point of the question?
But another question related to this is how a recipient, whether how a recipient,
Yeah.
whether a worthy recipient or a non-worthy recipient, how it gives to that recipient the effect from that. Let's say, for instance, let's say I give to let's say a noble monk.
I think maybe it's better you turn the microphone off and just speak loudly, because it's making that cracking sound. Okay.
The question is about the recipient of a gift.
Yeah.
Let's say if you give a gift to a venerable monk,
Yeah.
or you give a gift to, let's say, a poor person.
Yeah.
How does the recipient's
Moral quality?
how does the gift given to a noble one bears more greater fruit than to a person who's not worthy of recipient?
How does that work? It just seems to be, we call it a fact that's working, a fact within the karmic universe. How it happens, that I don't know. Yeah.
Somewhere I read that it's an analogy to putting your seeds into a fertile ground
Yeah.
and putting your seeds into an arid ground.
Yeah, that analogy is used in the text. Planting seeds in fertile soil, and then with proper manure or sufficient water, then you get abundant crops. Whereas you put the seeds into barren soil, then you get poor quality crops. So that's just an analogy, but how it what are the dynamics behind the working of karma? That I don't know how to explain that. It's just the way it is.
I mean, I see that in life itself. I see people that are really generous and
Yeah.
open with people that don't need it. I mean, they may throw a party and there are few people that are already fat.
They what?
I'm talking about, like there's people that are extremely generous to
Yeah.
people that don't need it.
Yeah.
For example, like a rich person.
Yeah.
Very generous to other rich people.
Yeah.
Say a person that's really generous and feeds people liquor and
Yeah.
food. That person usually, they're never really that happy. But you could see a person that's doing like Mother Teresa
Yeah.
and helping the poor, and she's much more happier.
Yeah.
It's generating great karma. You see it in life. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
you don't have to look into, into the subjective. You could look at it objectively. It's happening.
Yeah.
With people's daily lives, when people are more generous,
Yeah.
they tend to be happy.
Yeah.
And I see that all the time.
Yeah.
I see it in you, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think that directly answered the point that Sering, or the question that Sering brought up.
I wasn't trying to say,
Yeah.
I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
It creates a karma.
I think Bowie had something. Well, in fact, the concept of what we would call religious giving was, I would say that this was a universal feature of the Indian spiritual scene. Because first, the Brahmins, or at least the Brahmins from the older period, ideally were not supposed to work at some remunerative occupation, but they were supposed to subsist on alms that are offered to them by the people, and in turn they perform religious services for the people and preserve and study the Vedas. In fact, in the Sutta Nipata, there's a sutta called the Brahmana Dhammika Sutta, in which the Buddha is questioned by some Brahmins, and then he explains how the lifestyle of the Brahmins has deteriorated from the early period when the Brahmins were very observant and very diligent and upright, to the period of his own time when the Brahmins, he says that that their conduct is not much better than that of of people like thieves. And then the other religious sects, contemplative sects existing along with the Buddha, they all depended upon offerings from the lay community for their subsistence. They would all go on alms round. There was just like a typical feature in the Indian scene. And so there was a kind of, I'd say at some level, even a kind of competition going on to see who was able to, I don't want to impute unworthy motives to anybody, but one could see in the Buddha's text a sense of, especially a competition with the Jains, who were the sect which were closest to the Buddhists. And so a sense of who is getting more gain, honor, respect, and veneration, whether it's going to be the Buddhists or the Jains. Yeah, and yeah, 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 mm. Yeah, 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 yeah. There offers a Buddhist monk or a Catholic monk. Okay, so a Christian offers a gift to a Buddhist monk. Okay, there seem to be quite a number of issues here. Okay, I think what's spoken about of the intention, this is when giving the personal gift. The intention in that case is the intention of giving. So it's not necessarily conceptualizing that person as a Buddhist monk, but having the intention of giving. So that is one factor entering into the intention. But I'd say that if the intention is not simply to give to the person as a person, to alleviate the needs of that person, but one is giving with the thought, I want to support a worthy one who is living the monastic life in the Buddha's teaching, I would say that increases the meritorious power of the gift, because one is giving not the way I give a gift to a friend Maybe I have a friend, I give him a book or a tin of tea. Okay, so just giving is on a friendly basis, friend to friend. The intention is different from that of giving to support somebody because they are leading the brahmacharya, the spiritual life in the Buddha's teaching. And then the expression that I use, much merit, that's because in Sri Lanka we have an expression, Pingsitweva. Sometimes it goes, Bahu, is it Hungak Pin, or Godak Pin. It's just, Pin is the Sinhalese pronunciation of punya, and then Hungak or Godak is the same as Bahu, much. So normally we don't say thank you, but instead we say much merit, Godak or Hungak Pin. Yeah. 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 In other words, so you're giving in order to benefit the other person, not with the intention, I'll get some merit that's going to benefit me in the future. I think actually that's the proper motivation. The motivation should be to benefit the other person, but what should underlie this, what I think increases the value, the meritorious value of the gift, is that one understands that the act of giving is taking place within this framework of cause and result. But one is giving not for the purpose of getting some benefit in return, but to benefit the other person. This seems to be, I have to say, a difference between maybe contemporary ways of understanding giving and generosity and very traditional Buddhist ways of understanding. Very traditional Buddhist ways, as I observed in Sri Lanka, that there's a lot of concern to be giving in order to get the merit, in order to secure oneself favorable results in the future. Whereas in a more modern understanding, one is not concerned with the results that come in the future, but one gives just to benefit the others. But the way I see it, at least, like if I practice giving, I'm not doing so out of a greedy desire to get rich or famous or popular or to get some other kind of benefits. But I do so with the understanding that at least I want to be born under circumstances where I can encounter the Dharma and practice the Dharma, where I won't be, living in poverty, just having to struggle day in and day out just to subsist on the bare minimum, not to be born into a country afflicted with war and disasters. So those would be, it's not my main motivation, but it's sort of an understanding that by practicing generosity or doing meritorious deeds, I'm at least creating conditions that will be favorable to progress in the Dhamma. Any other questions, comments? Kaiti, did you? Yeah. Yeah.
and we have our ups and downs.
Yeah.
Similar advantages that we create a condition for us where we are now. We create a condition
Yeah.
to come back again.
We create conditions.
We create conditions to come back again. For instance, like maybe in our life we have some downside.
Yeah.
Because Nicholas was talking about a condition that we were talking about Hemingway, about the suicidal.
Yeah. Ernest Hemingway. Yeah.
And I was thinking about if he has been creating condition to create some merits in Buddhism, maybe he won't go into the suicidal.
I see. I see. I see.
That's my
Well, actually, actually, that brings up another interesting point, is that when one does meritorious deeds, then one can reflect on those good deeds, not with the thought, I'm going to become rich, I'm going to become famous, I'm going to become powerful, but one thinks back and reflects on those meritorious deeds, and then one rejoices in them, and that brings a kind of upliftment to the mind.
I think so. I think that was my point I was trying to put before, that it does bring people here.
It,
Happier.
yeah, right, yeah,
It's not about getting something, it's about having
yeah, yeah,
better.
yeah, yeah. It brings immediate happiness here and now. And then also, this has come within the Buddhist tradition, that, as I said this morning, when we do merits, then we want to share the merits. And that is not reducing our own merit, but it sort of increases the intensity of the merit. Okay, so maybe we haven't... Okay, Terry?
When the existence very limited and maybe very stupid reason for explaining the recipient's benefits from the recipient.
Mm.
As I was explaining to you earlier, a noble, a monk, and a poor person really need help. This is my
Yeah.
limited understanding. If one gives to somebody who really need help, maybe the benefit from that gift is very limited.
Yeah.
Time, maybe an hour, maybe 1 day, just
Yeah.
time is difficult because of humble and so on.
Yeah.
Whereas giving to somebody who is on the path,
Yeah.
a real person, their thoughts are a little bit different. Their age, their motivation,
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
things are
Yeah.
different in terms of mentality.
Yeah.
So, and as all things, or most things, depend on your attitude or your
Yeah.
motivations. So I think the benefit generally comes from there, I think.
Yeah. Though, in my opinion, again, as I said this morning, this is where I like this passage from the Upasika Sila Sutra, that it's important to balance gifts that are given to those considered the fields of merit with gifts given to, or help given to those who are needy, and not just to have this exclusive emphasis on giving to those who are worthy of offerings. Okay, I think we're going to have to stop for the day, and we could just mentally share the merits of listening and discussing the Dhamma without the chanting, which is... Okay, then we could end with 3 half bows. Oh, by the way, there's to be a lecture tomorrow, or Dhamma talk, with other parts of a program tomorrow by an American monk who's staying based in West Virginia, but he's in Long Island now. His name, Venerable Sudasso. It starts 1:30. It will be in the library right here tomorrow, 1:30. It will be on the 4 Noble Truths in application to daily life. Okay, so we do 3 half bows.